Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you guys didn't have too much trouble changing these little axles over. Actually went pretty smoothly for me. The first time I did it was pretty rough. Second time I did it was on video, and it had been a year since I'd last done it. And these weren't bad at all. So hopefully you guys didn't let them whip you too bad. So we have everything ready to go. We got our arms here. All the upper arms are the same. We got our lower arms over here. So let's go ahead and start changing our arms out and put it back together now. This is probably going to be part 3, so this may be the last video, so let's get this done. So let's go ahead and get these lower arms all changed out real quick. This won't take long at all. So let's go ahead and do the front ones first. So let's go ahead and pull this lower pin. And we'll just lay that knuckle right there with that there. Let's pull this lower pin. Take that one, and I'll lay that one right there with that pin. Now we need to pull our skid plate. Okay, and that'll lift right off. Now let's remove this front screw right here. We'll just put that right in front of us because we're going to be reaching for it here in just a second. So now we can just take this little plate off, and to find out which arm goes where, just grab one of your arms and match it up. So this goes like this, but see, our shock mount is in the wrong spot, so it's not this set. It's going to be this set here. So there, that arm, see, it matches up, it's just longer, perfect. So I'm going to lay it down right there, move the other one out of the way. And just real quick, take your pin out, get rid of that stock one, put your pin back in place. There, your arm's changed. And same for the other side. Take it out. Okay, take your stock arms off and save those. Put that back on. Put your bracket back on. You have to give everything a little wiggle. Be sure that those little dowel pins come back through those holes in that plate. And put this right back on there. There we go. Okay, now I positioned it just like it was when we pulled these knuckles off. And we had it laying just like this. So now, take that knuckle, and you're just going to roll it right back into the position it was. Slide it right back in there. Put your pin back in. Try and do this however I think it'd be the easiest for you guys. If you're not doing any other mods like steel axles, this is how you would be doing it. Alright, then this knuckle, we'll roll it right back into place, just like it was. Just like that there. And put your pin back in. Alright, there we go. Now replace your skid plate. Put it right back on. Just like that. And your skid plate had 4 tapered screws. Alright, front lowers are done. It's jump to the rears. Rear skid plate. And just put your screws down right in front of you because you're going to be grabbing them here in just a few seconds. Pull your skid plate, put them with the screws, remove this same screw we took off the front. Here we go. Now let's go ahead and remove this lower pin here. Take that out. Just set it straight down. Remove this one. Set it straight down. Let your knuckle fall right off. Just like that there. And like that there. Okay. Grab your other arms and be sure that your shock mounts are in the same spot. Pull it off. Put it back in place. Take that one, spare parts, right back in, and then put your little retainer back on with your notches facing up, or down rather. Okay, tighten that back up. Grab your skid plate, put it back on. 4 tapered screws we just set down, put those back in. Okay, now we'll put our knuckles back in. We have this knuckle laying right there. See how it's laying? We're going to just put it right back in the way it came out. Push that pin through, get it started. Put this knuckle back in. Push that pin through. Send it home. Tight. There we go. Lower arms are done. Check that baby out. Let's knock these uppers out. You got 1 pin remaining on each one. Pull that pin out. It's a 2.5. All the arms are the same. You see how this arm is laying right here? Match it up. Just like that. Put it in place. Replace your pin. There you go. Repeat on the left. Take your pin out. Lay your arm down. Match the pattern. Put it back in. There you go. Now let's do your rears. Same procedure. Pull your upper pin. I'm sorry, we just did our rears. Now let's do our fronts. Same exact procedure, except you got a tie rod, and that doesn't really come into play. Go ahead and put your arm back on. You just be sure that this notch here, what that's for is to allow your shot to go through. So just be sure that notch faces forward. Put your pin in place. Tighten it up. Left front. We'll lay that arm like, see how that arm is there? Nope. There we go. Put it right back on. There we go. Alright guys. Almost there. We'll do our tie rods last. Let's go ahead and start putting our drive line back together. We're going to take one of our extended axles now. And if you look at the end of these, they have index marks, lines on there. You line those up and it'll go right in. If you don't, it just won't push on. See there? So line those marks up and it'll glide right on there. If it doesn't, it's not going to work. Fold your knuckle down and put that stub shaft right back through that little bearing there. See there? Now take the pin that you took out previously. You only have 4 pins left. And put it in. Okay. Left front. Grab another axle. They're all the same. Spin it till it lines up. Point it down. Poke it through that outer bearing. If it pushes that bearing out, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about that. Can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Lift that arm right back into place and replace your pin. There you go. And we'll just push that bearing right back into place. There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and do our rear. Same procedure. You guessed it. And if you're wondering about that bearing, it's on the axle. See there, they always come off on the axle. If not, just be sure that that bearing is put in there. Line up your index marks. Slide it in. This may take a little more persuasion, but it'll go in. There it is. Poke it through your bearing there. Just like that. Replace your pin. Go. And now the right rear, last one. Grab your last axle, line it up, and then poke it through that bearing. Just like that. and line up your pinhole. Your bearing came out, just walk it back in there. Just like that there. Okay, I think I have enough juice in my camera to put our rear shocks on. Grab your rear shocks. Those are the ones with the shiny springs. Let's grab our shock screws. So we're going to need 2 long ones and 2 shorter ones. Right there. Let's put those in. We're going to go ahead and hang the top ones in first with a long screw. There we go. And then the bottom. There it is. Tighten it up. Those are a 2mm. Be careful with these. These are tiny. Okay. And then we'll do the same with the other. Grab your rear. Be sure it has a new spring on it. We're going to try something a little different. Let's try putting it in the bottom first. There we go. Good and tight. We got that all back together. Looky there. Okay, this bearing here, we got a bearing hanging out here. We'll put that in here just a second. Let's go ahead and do our front shocks. Same screws. 2 long ones and 2 shorter ones. Right there they are. Alright, here we go. Let's get these in here. There we go. There we go. Okay. That's the trick. Put them lower ones in first. There we go. Always learning, guys. Always learning. Cool. There we go. That is going pretty smoothly. So let's go ahead and get our tie rods put on now. We'll turn it over. These aren't going to be bad at all. So go ahead and grab your new long tie rods and then pull your servo all the way over to one side where you can get to it here. You see there? That's a 2mm. Now don't just take it out and fling it down. I'm going to show you something. Take that screw out, lay it down, take that out, and look at it. You see how that hollow ball it's long on both sides? See, these are different. See, that was a short one. Flip it over, you get the long one. So you be sure you put the long one back where it belongs. So just put it right back in there. And what you can do to use a little bit of force to pop it in there is hold the other one so you don't shove it over. Kind of start it at an angle like this. Pry up on it. And look at there. For the most part, it'll line right back up. You can take your little 1.5mm bit and line it right up with that once you get it in there that far. Like this. There, line it right up, see? Okay, now shove that bell crank over to the other side. I'm going to have a hard time with this one because it's on the opposite side of me, I'll tell you now. So we know the long side goes in there. Maybe not. Take your bit, line it up, drop your screw in. Good shot on my wrist, guys. Sorry about that. There you go. Now we can turn it over and finish this puppy up. Find your tie rod screws. You're going to be 2 left that look alike. Everything else is different. So those right there. Alright, put that back in place. These could be a booger sometimes. I don't know what it is about them. Not always, but sometimes. There you go. There it is right there. There we go. There we go. That's it, fellers. Let's go ahead and put our wheel hexes back on, put our wheels back on, and get our bumpers on. And she is done. So if you haven't seen me do this before, and you're wondering if you had a hard time getting those hexes popped on over those little cross pins, I'm going to show you the trick. Go ahead and grab you a tire that goes on this side of the truck. So this is the right front we're working on. You got an arrow pointing the front of the truck. That's right. I'm going to go ahead and grab my little bit that I need for my wheel nut. This is how we do this. Take your cross pin hole and be sure it's horizontal to the table. It keeps the pin from falling out. That's all that does. Put it in like that. Line up your wheel hex with your cross pin. Reach back here, hold this axle. Put it on there. You'll feel it kind of go into place. Hold pressure out on that axle. Take your wheel, put it on carefully. We're going to pull it in. You'll hear it pop. Didn't hear it pop because you couldn't hear it over the tool, but it went in. I'm going to show you. See there? Pulled it right into place. That's the trick, guys. That's all you do. Put this back on. The easiest way to put these darn wheels on is to put everything in the wheel like that. Put your finger over it and then just line it up. Like that. Did you hear that pop? That one went right in. Check her out. She is looking good. If I get cut off, I'm sorry. I'll be right back. She is looking good. You can definitely feel the shock fluid is a lot more firm in the back. So this is looking really sweet. Let me grab a memory card, guys. We'll be right back. We'll put them bumpers on and we'll get you guys on the road.